including Jalen Ramsey. He thinks OBJ is the fourth best receiver in the NFL when healthy, even ahead of Super Bowl MVP Cooper Kupp. On a podcast, Ramsey said, quote, "In the Super Bowl, O was really the igniter. If O could have kept going, O probably would have been Super Bowl MVP. And that ain't taking nothing away from Cooper, but O was really living like that. He was on another level." Shannon, what's your opinion? Do you like what Jalen said?
I do, and that Skip, I think I came out here that next day and said, Skip, he was having a fantastic game. Having been at the game and watching him and seeing how at peace that he was and talking to him over the course of the last 2 months, I was like, okay, he's back. He's back. And he was playing at he was playing like he was going to win that Super Bowl MVP, Skip, because they had no answer. Like you said, they were going to do everything they possibly can to take Cooper Kupp away. Okay, y'all take Cooper Kupp. Y'all going to try to cover O with your third receiver, your third corner? Good luck with that. And he was having a day. And so, yeah, it was very disappointing. He was already over 50 yards in the second quarter with more of that quarter and 2 more quarters to go. So I do believe the outcome for him was going to be very favorable. Skip, you never know it because we look at it and we like, Aaron Donald really could have easily won the Super Bowl MVP also with the performance that he had. But O was on pace to have an outstanding Super Bowl and was going to get heavily compensated for the performance that he had down the stretch. But for me, Skip, look, and people are like, well, he said, when you do this interview, Skip, when people ask you, well, Shannon, who's your top this or your top that? Skip, you're asking me on the spot. So I'm just like, I'm throwing out names, and he's like, well, he said, bruh, it's not like I had an opportunity to jot this thing down. So, but he's also saying, I remember when he was healthy. Y'all remember those first 3 years at the Giants when he was healthy? I remember that Odell. I remember the Odell that when he got there, and to watch him run, to watch him do one-on-one, because the DBs go one-on-one with the receivers in practice, Skip, he's like that. He's like that. So for me, Skip, I agree with you. Now, look, that's Ramsey's top 5. I've never had to cover anybody, a defensive back, and so who Jalen Ramsey thinks his top 5 receivers are might be a little different from mine. I'm not here to question that. That's his opinion. He has to cover these guys. But I do think Odell, when healthy, is a top receiver. I'm not willing to say that he's top 5 right now currently, but there's no question in my mind, Skip. He was on his way to having a monster game, and I would have loved to see him finish and see what his numbers would have been.
Okay, there are 2 huge glaring points here. I'm going to start with the first one. So, off the top of your head or not, you're speaking publicly. Mm-hmm. And you have a responsibility to yourself and your football team that if you're not sure, just say, I'm not sure right now. Right. I don't even want to go in there. Right. I can't do that. Right. But he didn't duck or dodge it. He sort of did it on the fly because he amended it on the fly a couple times. Well, really, it's this and this. But so he's got Devontae and Tyreek and Debo at the top. Right. And then he thinks about it for a while, and he goes, Odell, he's got them tied for first, so Odell then would be 4th on his list. Right. There's this guy, Cooper Kupp, who does play for the Rams, and he gave him a tie for 5th with Stephon Diggs. Right. Well, Shannon, you know and I know, you can't do that publicly. You can't do that to a receiver who won the Triple Crown this year. It was unprecedented.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often.
If I am Cooper Kupp, I am somewhere between hurt and angry. I'm blindsided, and I would feel a little disrespected by my superstar defensive teammate who ranked me below Odell.
I think, but Skip, to his point, he's looking at it. I saw him win the Triple Crown, but what's he going to follow it up with? I've seen Devontae do this over and over. I've seen Tyreek do this over and over. I know Odell has been healthy, but I saw Odell have a 3-year stretch that was as good as any receiver ever to start a career. I remember that Odell, and I think that's kind of what he's basing it on. Stephon Diggs. I saw with Stephon Diggs in Minnesota when he got limited opportunities, and then he went to Buffalo where he became the guy. And so I've seen years. Now, the question is, and what makes the great receivers great, is that not only do they have one good season, Skip, because if Tom Brady would have had one season where he threw 50 touchdowns and 5-6 interceptions, you're like, okay, yeah, he had a great season. But Tom has been able to do it over and over, Brady over and over, Breeze over and over. And you look at Jerry and Randy and T.O. and all the great Hall of Fame receivers, they were able to do that over time. So if Cooper Kupp follows this up, I'm not saying he's going to win the Triple Crown today. Hell, nobody's ever won the Triple Crown twice. If he, 110, 120 catches, another 13, 1,400 yards, double-digit touchdown, man, I'm going to have to rethink some things. I might have to have Cooper Kupp in my top 2. Skip, if you think about it, hell, he left DeAndre Hopkins completely out there. And he went against D-Hop, 2 years ago, twice.
Well, you only got 5.
Oh, Skip, and he was in the same division as D-Hop, Jacksonville and Houston. So I'm going against D-Hop every year, twice. And he didn't put D-Hop in there. D-Hop like, wait a minute. Am I still in the NFL? Am I dreaming? I ain't in the top 5?
Okay, I think that's what Cooper Kupp said when he reads this. Wait a minute. After all I did, and by the way, his 2019 breakout season for Cooper Kupp was pretty good because he had 1,116 yards and 10 touchdowns. I don't know. You could see him coming. The numbers fell a little off in 2020, and he missed a game, and they were bad. They just had a bad year. But then these numbers last year, my God, I've never seen anything like this. And all I know is I obviously carefully watched the Tampa game and the San Francisco game and the Cincinnati Super Bowl game. And I'm seeing Cooper Kupp getting doubled and tripled, where defensive coordinators are just saying, you can't have him, and they took him. Because Matt Stafford had a connection with him and would just force feed him. And if it took a no-look, he would no-look him to get him on the
I don't know if we've ever seen somebody have this kind of connection, Skip, 1 year into a relationship. This is something that's a Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison built over years. That's a Jerry and Joe built over years. Skip, this is their first year together.
I know. I don't know. And they said they had the breakfast club going because they would meet every day at 6:30 for breakfast. Right. But something clicked with those two. Okay, so now back to the contention he would have won MVP. I don't know. It's possible he would have. He was in a very advantageous situation because he's getting single coverage, and they are daring. They're just saying, just throw it to him. Throw it to him, and we're okay with that because we'll take him, but we can't take the other guy. So in the end, if that had happened and he had, I don't know, 150 yards, let's go 200 yards. Well, at some point, Matt Stafford's going to get in the equation, and he's going to be the MVP. And we did see Deion Branch take it away from Brady one year. I thought Brady won it.
Jerry got it from
won
Joe.
it, and I thought Joe won it because
Hines Ward won it.
He did win it. But Jerry won it because the votes are taken so prematurely that you know what happened at the end of the game. Joe hits the other receiver.
John Taylor, 200-yard
hits the Odell-type receiver who was getting the single coverage for the game winner. Okay? It wasn't quite a walk-off, but it was close. Okay. So the point is, it could have happened. I just don't think it would have happened. Okay. So here's my problem with this, and we've gone back and forth about this, but I'm still mystified and mesmerized by the mystique around Odell. Okay? They just love him. Everybody loves him. Everywhere, everybody has loved him and put him on the highest pedestal. And it's back to these quotes from Jalen about, there ain't many that athletic, that twitchy, run those routes, hands. Okay, I got it. But I see, in the past, I've seen as much or more of that in the pregame show he puts on as in the real game show. And in the end, just this year, okay, so he did get cut by the Browns because they said, go find another team. If he's that guy, if he's the 4th best receiver, then somebody would have said, I got to have him. I'll give a 5th rounder for him. I mean, Amari Cooper got a 5th rounder.
Skip, but you got to look at it through his eyes, who he says, I have the most difficult time covering. Like I said, I would not, and I love Odell, but I would not say he's a top 5 receiver.
Well, I kept putting you on the spot. Down the stretch, I'd say, okay, who's better, Odell or Cooper Kupp? And you'd say, well, obviously it's Cooper Kupp.
Hell, at that point in time, Cooper Kupp was the best receiver in football.
Well, he was.
Even Devontae, Skip, and I love Adams, but the dude had a Triple Crown. And then he followed it up, Skip. A lot of times guys have great numbers and they get in the playoffs and they flame out. No. Hell, he was better in those 3-game stretches and down the stretch at Tampa, San Fran, into the Super Bowl than he was at any point in time during the season. And so you're like, you know what? Okay, dude legit. But all I'm asking, Skip, he puts another, because you remember that Super Bowl, Skip, he tore his knee in that Super Bowl, and I was like, damn. Because he was
who?
Cooper Kupp.
Oh, Cooper
when
Kupp.
they played New England.
Yes.
He tore it.
He did.
He did.
Okay.
Before
very good point.
Skip, he puts together another season, that's asking too much. If he does continue to build on what he's building, Skip, I think at some point in time we're gonna have to okay, I get it that we don't want to address the elephant in the room that a top 5 receiver. He don't look like the rest of the
He doesn't look like the rest of the guys. I've told you that.
What was that Sesame? One of these things don't belong. One of these things is not like the other.
I agree with that.
So at some point,
I've told you my eye test doesn't work. I keep looking and I say, that's impossible. It can't be happening. Because he's not a little Edelman Amendola slot receiver. He's running routes all over the place. He's running the tree.
But if you hold my feet, you got one receiver, I'm gonna take Devontae. If you say I got one receiver right now, because I've seen him do it over a period of time.
Likewise, agreed.
But hey, don't sell 10 short.
Okay, so
I think he's number 10. What his number is?
Who?
Cooper Kupp. Is he number 10? Okay.
Yeah. And Odell's gone to 3.
He was 13
okay, 13-3. Okay, so speaking of Cleveland, so Odell had 3 surgeries at Cleveland, including an ACL.
Yeah.
Well, it took a little bit out of him, and he's now 29. Okay. Right. And then, unfortunately, he tears the ACL again. But if Jalen was right about this and he was top 4, look what Tampa did. They jumped right on Chris Godwin,